Sup, Lebron here, and today we're going to talk about how I make and how I don't make money from my art business. What's up, Leron here. Thank you for joining me in another episode of Business Monday. The reception of the previous episode was good. From what I could understand, you do want me to continue with this series, and so today I thought that I talk about how I make money and how I don't make money from my art business. In other words, what works and what doesn't work for me. And I think this is a really good kind of meta topic to talk about. It doesn't go too zoomed in, and it will allow us to maybe develop some conversation around these topics because as I mentioned in the previous episode, I'm just testing these new grounds, and so I don't know exactly what will interest you, and I'm really feeding off of your feedback, okay? So as always, leave me a comment in the end of the episode. Let me know what you thought and if these topics interested you and where you want me to go from here. Okay, so we're going to talk about what works and what doesn't work for me. Originally, I wanted to talk about financially, just what helps me make money and what doesn't. But then I decided to expand it a bit and also talk about social media and some other things that work and don't work. So I'm going to just go through them real quick. Now, the first thing that works for me, we're going to just start with what works. We're going to start with the positive. So the first thing that really works for me is the books. I talked about it many times in the past. After I finished my military service, I just decided to start publishing books independently. It was like the golden era of independently published books, and I did know I have the teaching skills and I did have a lot of experience in drawing, so I just decided to start writing, and I think I did get a bit lucky because it started working really well from the very first book, and I really don't know what would have happened if it wouldn't have worked well from the beginning. Maybe I wouldn't have continued with what I'm doing right now. Maybe I would have pushed through it. I don't know. I really have no idea. But the first book, the day after I published it, and that's Drawing Perspective, the day after I published it, it started selling, and I was shocked. I was like, money from the internet. That was really shocking. And then I published two more that were, I think, really much better. Well, not much better, but the third one was really good. That's the How to Draw Folds in Clothes. And they didn't sell as much, but then the fourth one, How to Sketch, really exploded, I think. And to this day, it's my leading book at the moment. So this is something that really I wanted to start with because the books are something that really works. I will give a little caveat later on. So the books are one thing that really worked for me, and I think it's a combination of circumstances and abilities. So I think my writing skills are good. My teaching skills are good. They're much better when I write. When I write, it's so much different than when I speak because I just have more time to gather my thoughts. And for some reason, when I type things, it's just easier for me to express myself many times. So in any case, that's one thing. Now, the next thing, and I talked about it as well in the previous episode, is my courses. And I originally put a few courses on the Udemy platform, and then I decided to start working on my own platform, my own website, where I have control over everything, and to publish a few courses there. And I'm really near the end of a really long-winded process of being able to sell more efficiently. And so I have the first course, which is Draw Anything That's in Front of You, and then I'm about to really just now this week launch How to Shade, okay? By the way, if you purchase Draw Anything That's in Front of You, be sure to check out, I will send you an email and I'll let you know about a discount that you're gonna have for the How to Shade course, okay? Now this really works well for me. So originally the Udemy platform wasn't making that much money for me. It was really let's say less than $100 a month. Just, it's a side income, it's nice. But then after, near the end of 2017, it really started going up when I published another course on sketching people. And I think this is really a step up for me. The level of the course is much, much better than the previous ones in terms of how comprehensive it is. And so this one really made a shift and drove a lot of sales to my other courses as well. And this is where it started going above and maybe several $100s. I don't want to say the specific numbers. I'm sure it's against some kind of terms of service, but something around that area. And then it just kept going up and up and up. And now I think it's stabilized around a nice sum. So that started working really near the end of 2017. But my course, the original Draw Anything course that I I published it around January 2017, a year prior, so at the start of 2017, and this one immediately, I did a good job, and a friend of mine that's really like a master of marketing and sales helped me, and online marketing and things like this, and it really immediately launched well and sold a lot of just made a lot of sales. So this is something that works well for me. Now, I want to break away from financials for a moment and talk about social media and just marketing efforts and things like this. So the things that worked for me there in that field are YouTube. Here, I think it's just my only measurement is, am I moving forward? I'm trying not to look at the numbers too much because, like, what's the difference between 20,000 followers and 30,000 and 70,000 and 100,000? There's no real difference. The contents that I'm posting are going to be the same. I'm the same person, you know, it's the same kind of audience. So I really appreciate each and every subscriber. I don't necessarily just think about the numbers. It's a nice kind of vanity to think about 100,000, and I do want to get there, of course, in 1 million subscribers, but that's not like the main thing that I think about. I try to think more about the quality of what I produce, and to just be allow myself to be fed by you, by things that you want to consume, and so I really read every comment and I reply to every comment. I think like 99% of the comments, and I really want to get more information from you for what you want, because I want to direct it in that direction. So in any case, YouTube really works well because it just continues growing, as you can see, and you keep mentioning in the comments like, oh, it used to be 16,000, now it's 20,000. Yeah, it keeps growing because I keep working at it. Instagram starts to work really well for me. I have about 3,000 followers there, and I keep getting new ones, and I really enjoy it. There's engagement there, people comment, there's a lot of things going on, and people actually consume, like they look at the images and they like them and they interact with them and they even share them. So these are the two things that really work for me. One more thing I would mention for me personally, and it really depends on what you do, the Wet Canvas forum really helped me in some cases to get traffic to my YouTube channel. So that's like a painting forum, wetcanvas.com, I think .com, and it's a really good platform, I think, for marketing. But of course, I never really pushed hard on my content. I tried to just kind of build myself there, and really share useful stuff and comment on other people's threads, and then when it's relevant, I share a link to a YouTube video. So I don't know, maybe some of you have found me through there. Now, a thing that doesn't really work for me is Reddit. It used to work in the past. Reddit is just a huge, I don't even know how to describe it, but Reddit is really a huge platform. It's like the front page of the internet, that's what they call it, and things that are good, they really float up and then they become more visible. It used to really work well for me to drive traffic into the videos and into even Instagram, but lately, I don't know, when I post stuff there, it's so this is in terms of what works. I stuffed Reddit in there, but let's now talk about what doesn't work for me, and then I'm gonna connect it all together, and I think I will tie it up nicely. So what doesn't work for me, the first thing that really didn't work is licensing my artwork. I tried for a while to upload works to websites like Society6 and what's the name of this website? Redbubble. And it's just the way these websites work is you upload your artwork and then they automatically put it on different products like mugs and posters and bed sheets and pillows and all kinds of things, and canvases and stickers even. So I uploaded a few works there and tried to really push some sales there, but it never really connected. Now, it has to do with many different factors. Maybe the style, maybe the style of the artwork needs to really match the thing you're doing, and there is, of course, it has its own science of how to get discovered. The discoverability is a big factor on YouTube, on Instagram, on every platform. You need to know how to get it, and you really need to learn the rules of the specific game you're playing, because, for example, YouTube, all it wants is watch time. The more watch time you can get, the better it promotes your videos. So if you make, and I found this out at some point, if you make longer videos and you get more watch time but less percentage, it still can be better. So if you have tons of videos that are 5 minutes and people are watching like 90% of them, maybe 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes the entire vid, or if you have videos of an hour long that people watch 30 minutes of, then the hour long 30 minutes is better. So I believe that was at least the case in 2017. Maybe I need to update my information. But in any case, every platform has its own, and this could be an interesting topic to talk about as well. Let me know what you think of this, that every platform has its own discoverability. Now there's this new app called Anchor. It's a podcasting app, and you just record straight to your phone, and it goes to the App Store and to the iTunes and all of the different podcast avenues. And it has its own discoverability, so it's really tricky. You need to learn the platform on which you're working on. So this is, just to wrap up, the licensing my art never really worked out for me. And I will explain something later on that I think will be really important. So wait until the end of the video. I'm going to talk about something, I think it's a really important distinction. Another thing that really doesn't work for me right now is selling my art. Once in a while I'll get asked about a painting and I will sell it. Once in a while I'll get asked about a commission work and I will sell it. But quite honestly, it's not something that happens a lot right now. And it's funny, it's not even, I don't think it's a reflection of the quality of art. I think really it's where you market yourself and the audience that you build. So I never really focused on necessarily selling my art. I will try and get into some galleries. This year it's going to be something I'm going to be big on. But up until this point, I never really tried. And so this is something that hasn't occurred naturally, so I wouldn't say it worked out so far. Now, another interesting thing, and that is Smashwords. So my books are on Amazon, and then there's also this service called Smashwords. And what they do is you upload the book to Smashwords, and they post it in like a million different channels. So they put it on Barnes and Nobles, and there's just tons of those. Like there's this Flipkart, Flipkart? Was that the name? Like an Indian website. In any case, there's just tons of websites that they put your book on automatically. And I just had so few sales there. It's laughable, really, because you would think that, because Amazon's a monster, Amazon's a beast, and you put your book there and it really can get discovered. And if you are good at marketing, then it will build popularity. And if your book is good, of course, if your book is terrible, then it won't. But if it's good, people will continue reading it and maybe recommending it. So that's one thing. But the Smashwords never worked for me. I think, it's so funny. I think in my 3.5 years in Smashwords, I earned as much money as I made in 2 months on Amazon, maybe. And that's just ridiculous. So in any case, but I'm going to talk about it in just a moment. And the last thing I kind of put in the middle, and that's the podcast. Now, I don't really know what to make of that. I currently checked my stats, and my podcast had about between 3,000 and 4,000 downloads. Downloads is like the views of podcasts. I don't really know how people consume it and if they listen to the entire episodes or they skip through them. I do think that percentage, like the engagement percentage, is higher in podcasts because you just passively listen while you do something else. So it's not like a video where you allocate time, stare at the screen, and you really have to concentrate. Unless, of course, it's a video that's predominant by audio, and then you can do things around the house or whatever, like I do many times. But podcasts is kind of when you go to work or when you walk the dog or things like this, then I think the percentage is higher there. But I really don't know, and I don't know where to place it in the works or doesn't work. I think 4,000 downloads is amazing, and I'm really thankful for that. But in terms of engagement and comments, it's not the same, it's not as much as the videos, but I guess maybe it requires a larger audience. Maybe it's just a different platform and just downloads are enough of a data to show you that it is consumed. I really don't know, so I'm kind of putting this one in the middle, if it works or it doesn't work. I don't really know. So in any case, just one important distinction if you've got to the end of the video is whenever I review or audit myself in terms of what helped me make money and what didn't help me make money so far, or where I was able to build an audience and where I wasn't really able to build an audience, it always comes down to how many hours I put into it. So I'm going to give you an example. The books on Amazon, I have been working for, if I just measure the hours I've been working on it, it's got to be like, I don't even know. I remember I used to write for full days. I would wake up at 7, start writing the books, and I would work all the way until 12 at night. I would work for 4 hours straight, because when I write, I'm in that zone. I can do it. Other things I can't do for that long. And now I can't do anything for that long because I have so many different focuses. But back then it was just the books, and I would just sit down and write for hours on end. And I just put a lot of hours into this. Now then we have the courses. I put a lot of work into the course, and the books. I didn't even mention the drawing part and all of that, and the editing and compiling it into a book. But in any case, the courses, same thing. I've been working on them for so long and just putting a lot of effort into them. The marketing and sales funnel that I hopefully will talk about in an upcoming episode. I've been working on that for so long, and really the whole process of getting through the LLC and the bank account, and just now I can use Stripe as a service to accept payments from credit cards. It's been such a long road. That I'm just not surprised that it works, And when I look at licensing, I didn't put many hours into it. I kind of dabbled in it, tried it, it didn't work for me, and then I moved on. And I think this is the main point that I want to convey to you. There's always a correlation between how many hours you put into something and how successful you are. Now, you just got to put in the time. And when I didn't put the time, I just didn't achieve it. And I can't really blame anyone but myself. The fact that the licensing didn't work for me, the fact that maybe Smashwords didn't work for me as a channel for my books. I never tried getting reviews on Barnes & Noble or on Flipkart. Never, or on Scribd. Also, it's a pretty popular website, but I never really strive to get reviews there. But on Amazon, it's a different story. I really contacted a lot of people, like professional, that will review the book. So it's just, the amount of work you put into it. So when I audit myself, it's our choice. So if we're going to put work into something, if we want to make it work, we have to put work into it. So this is just a major distinction I want to make. Like, I don't blame the universe for things that didn't work out. It's just really my fault. And there is one caveat, I think, as well, that if you're doing something for a really long time and it just doesn't work, I think you really need to know when to quit. For me, things are working for now, so I'm not quitting. I'm just gonna keep doing it until I have like 1 million followers somewhere, and I don't know, really. I just want to be able to reach as many people as possible and inspire as many people as possible. And it's a big goal, and it's very ambitious, and it's very, maybe even, it has a bit of ego in it. But I'm fine with that, because what I look at is the influence I have and the feedback I get. So I get a lot of comments and emails that thank me for inspiring. It's just really humbling, and I think it's the best feeling in the world, really. It's so easy also to get used to it when you get a lot of these, but I'm trying to really shift my perspective and look at each and every comment and email as something that's purely, like, really amazing. When someone writes to you and say that they haven't drawn for 10 years and you inspire them to go back to it, that's amazing. That's mind-blowing. That's literally changing someone's life. And then they share the results with you and they're like, it's starting to work for me. That's crazy. And this is, I think, the main reason why I do it. And maybe it's a bit selfish as well, because I enjoy the ego boost of getting these things. But really, I think, you know what? No, I take that back. I really think that I have good intentions, and I really think this is why I enjoy these things. So in any case, I don't really care. I just look at what happens, the result in the real world, and if I have a positive impact, that's good enough for me. So I think that's a good place to wrap up this video. I've gone on a few tangents, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know again what you think of these videos and what you want me to discuss. I do have a few topics I want to talk about, like the equipment I use to record my courses. I had a few other things that I was asked about. I just make a list of these things, and so if you have an idea or really something that you try to do and you fail at, Facebook ads, I don't know, be specific, I don't care. Let me know in a comment below, and I'll try to address it if it's something I'm familiar with. As I mentioned, I want this show to be only about things I'm familiar with. I'm not gonna front, I'm not gonna pretend I know something that I don't, and I think in the building of the business, I can't say I made it. at all. I'm really on my way there, and I think that's fun. That's the fun part, like the climb, and feeling like there's a lot to achieve and being competitive. Like I'm really competitive. This is something I don't talk about at all. I don't think I ever mentioned it, but I'm really competitive with other watercolor channels. So don't tell them. But like I just look at the numbers and it helps me drive. It helps me to motivate me. It's not something negative or anything like that. It's really positive because I just look at the number and I'm like, I gotta get more than that. So it's really fun. It's kind of a healthy competition. And yeah, that's it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Also check out the links in the description box. There's my beginner drawing course there, my podcast, my Patreon page, like everything, the Instagram, all of the interesting stuff. And I will see you again in another vid tomorrow.